Okay, so welcome to our Java course. This was originally intended to be a 2-day course, but then, yesterday was Labor Day and I didn't want to do it then because I knew people were on vacation. So it's just split into two parts. Um, so before we start, I'm just going to explain who we are and our purpose. So we are WorthyWorks, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing STEM and other educational courses and activities with a particular focus on coding and technology-related subjects. Our mission is to empower children by sharing our knowledge and demonstrating that learning can be enjoyable and exciting. So we've been running this for around 2 to 3 years, um, on topics like Java, Python, things like that, and we also volunteer in multiple different places. So that's just what we do. So now, this is what we're going to be learning. So first we're going to be doing array lists. And this is just a simple Java concept. Basically, it's just like a container used to store data. We're going to be doing threading and concurrency. This is a little bit more difficult, but essentially it's just in the most simple terms possible, it's just running two or more things at the same time. We're going to explain what object-oriented programming is and how that works. Exception handling, and also file and IO. And just so you guys know, all the link to the code, let me just paste this in the chat so you guys have it. Like if you guys, miss something, you can always look back at this code and like copy and paste. This is all the code we're going to be using for today. Like if you forgot to follow along or anything like that, you can always go back to here. So I'm going to be starting off with array lists, and then I'm going to move on to concurrency. And then I'll hand it over to Devansh from there. So as I said earlier, an array list is basically just like a container which you store data in. It's also a resizable structure that implements the list interface. So it basically allows you to store lists of data. So it's basically an ordered collection of elements, similar to what an array is. I don't know if you guys know that from like if you did like Python before or anything like that. An array also stores data, but the difference here is that you're able to grow and resize it based on your needs. In this example, we're just going to be demonstrating how an array list works and different commands that we can use with it. I'm going to reshare to just the editor so you guys can see that. Okay. Yes. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. You can remove this for now. We're not going to need that. We'll just recode that ourselves. So we're going to start off by just, doing the public static void. All the whatever was here before, we're just renaming the classes, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and recode that and you guys can follow along. And this is just the default we need to start our Java program. So I'm going to do public class array list example. So this is going to be our class name. Do an open curly bracket, our public static void. Just give me 1 second. Our public static void main, and then our basic string, open close bracket, parts, close parentheses, then open another curly bracket. And this is where we're going to say array list integer numbers equals new array. Um, okay. You guys should have this so far. Basically what this does is line 3 is what's important here. This is the line we're using to create our new array list. All right. This is just, initiating Java. But this is what we use to create our list. Okay. So inside, after this semicolon, this is where we're going to be adding stuff into our list. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a few numbers. So we're just going to do number dot add. And remember that array lists are usually used to store numerical data as opposed to strings, which are words or sentences. Numerical data is what's most commonly stored in array lists. So we're going to do number dot add. I'll just do 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So we'll do this, and then I'll copy and paste, and then just change the numbers itself. 20, 30, 40, and 50. All right. Is everyone with me so far?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So this is what's stored in our list so far. If we were to just type in, system.out.print, or just run this command to print the array list, it would just print whatever's in here. But what we're going to do is use a number of different other commands to, edit this list, remove numbers. I'll show you how we can use those to, play around with what's in here. So first we'll do system.out.println, and we'll do element at index. I'm looking at the chat. Oh yeah, make sure you add a semicolon after these numbers. Okay. So we're going to print element at index 2. And we're going to put a space after that. And then we're going to say plus number dot get. And then we're going to have our second term in the list. So 2 over here, then close. And then a semicolon at the end. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. So this line is just gonna print. It's just gonna print whatever is at our element index 2. All right. So over here, right, it's gonna print 20 when we run our program. But we're not just gonna do this. We're gonna do a bunch more commands. So basically, what this get over here does is that it accesses the second number in this list. So that's what get does. All right, so that's what's important over here. Now we're gonna set our first number to something else. So this is basically essentially a replacement command. So we'll do numbers dot set, and then inside parentheses, we're going to do 1, comma. So then what we're doing here is we're first accessing this numbers dot add, the first term in the sequence, and then we're changing it to whatever number we want. I'm going to do 75 over here. And then semicolon after that. And basically this just updates the element. So, you could call it replace or update. What we're doing here is we're just updating what is in this list. Okay, so that's if you want to do that in between the program. Next, we're also going to remove a term. So it's also possible out of this list to completely remove a term, and then it just won't be printed at the end of the execution. So we could do numbers dot remove, and then inside parentheses, we do integer dot value of, and then 40. And then make sure you have a semicolon at the end. So it's looking for whatever integer in this list has the value of 40, and then it's removing that from the what's going to be printed if we execute our program. Let me just okay. Next, what we're going to do is next, we're going to run a for loop so that we just iterate through this program. So what's going to happen here is that we do system dot out dot println. This command, by the way, just prints whatever you put in here, integer, string. So we're going to do system.out.println, and we're going to do elements in the array list. Remember, this is a string, so it's just going to print this text that I'm putting down over here. Put a semicolon after this. And this is where we're going to integrate our for loop. So we're going to say for the integers in the number list right here that we created for integer num, we're going to put a colon and do numbers. So it's going to print all the numbers in here. And it's also going to account for the changes we made over here, such as removing it, setting it to something different, things like that. Okay. We're going to put an open curly bracket, and we're just going to print it. This, what we did right here, well, right here, actually, this is our actual for loop. This just iterates through the array list. This is just saying what the elements in the array list are, and then it lists them right under this piece of text over here. All right. Okay. Next, we're going to use something called contain. And contain basically checks whether the array list contains a certain value. Now, it's similar to what remove does. Remove is also technically checking what's in here, but it's also removing it. With contain, it's kind of like an if statement. So if it contains whatever integer, then we can have it execute another command accordingly. So for this, we're going to use a Boolean. So we're going to do Boolean contains value is equal to numbers dot contains 30. So we're going to check if it contains 30. And if it does, what it's going to do, we're going to have it coded is that it's going to basically give us a true or false, whether it does contain it or it doesn't. That's what our Boolean is doing in this case. Remember, the contains just checks, but since we tied it with the Boolean, it's going to give us a true or false value. So we're going to do system.out.println array list contains 30. And then since we put a colon after this, and then we're going to get a true or false value once we add this contains value variable over here. Okay, so this basically just checks if the array list contains this value and then returns us with true or false accordingly. We're also going to be using a command which gives us the size of the array list. So with this program, we can count it, there's 5 terms over here. However, when real developers are working on large programs, they sometimes want to just check what's in the list, how many terms there are. And that's what the size function does. It just returns the size of the array list. So to do that, we're going to do integer dot size, or int size, not dot, is equal to numbers dot size, open close parentheses, semicolon, and this just gets us our size. And then we're going to print it. Remember, so even if we type this, the program technically executes it, but it's in the background. In order to get a display on our screen, we need to do system.out.print so we can see what the program is doing. So println size of the array list, and then we add the size on the. Okay, so just a quick recap of what we did so far. So this creates our array list. Then we add all these list of terms in here. This over here accesses the element at the second index. Remember, index is just what place that the number holds. And in most coding languages, it goes from 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't start with 1. So then index 2 would be over here. Okay, so then you would do our element at index 2. It would retrieve this number over here. Then we're also setting our first term to 75. So it's basically similar to a replace command. And then we're going to do numbers.remove. This removes a value in our list. And we're also going to be running a for loop so that we can iterate through the program. Remember, a for loop is just a system in which you can define how many times you iterate through a program. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys knew what that was. If you've done other coding languages before, you probably know that. But yeah, with a for loop, we just run through our program. Since we've only have one, we're just gonna run through it once. Now over here, this is where we incorporated our contains. This command checks what's in the list, whether something is in the list, and we've tied it to a Boolean, which gives us a true or false based on whether it's in there. And then we're also printing the size of our array list. Now, the last thing I want to show you is clear and empty. So you can also clear your list by doing numbers dot clear and then open and close parentheses, which this clears the array list, right? So that means it's completely empty. However, it's still going to print everything over here because this code is before the clear block. And then after that, we can have a Boolean check whether the list is empty. So it would be Boolean. Remember, Boolean is true or false. So is empty is equal to numbers dot is empty, open close parentheses, semicolon, and we're going to do system. I'm just going to copy this. System.out.println array list is, make sure to put the quotation marks for a string. Array list is empty. Put a space, and then we add a plus sign, and then we go back to this is empty, which is linked to the Boolean, which will give us our true or false. Okay, I put a semicolon over here, and let me just test this program. Let me test it for errors. It says element at index 2. Numbers.get. Getting an error. Let me just check what's wrong. Wait, Devont, are you getting a similar error?
I'm trying it out right now.
Here, I'm gonna check the document.
I think you see line 13 should be 1 to 25. Line 13.
Line 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just changing the.
Let me see.
I'm not too sure. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Oh, hold on. It's because for some reason it's not registering the. I'm not sure. Oh, over here. Just remove the parentheses that was inside the string. It basically what happened was it cut off the string in the system.out, and then it wasn't printing the outside. Sorry about that. By the way, guys, the meeting is gonna end in 10 minutes. We'll be posting a news link so that you guys can rejoin from there. Zoom has a 40-minute limit, so we'll just be going after that. I think there's a if the code is not working for you guys, you can use the one on the doc that I posted. For some reason, I'm not sure why mine isn't working. I can't identify the error right now. I'm checking the code again.
Arnav, I think before the printing the system .out.println line, there's supposed to be an integer. There's supposed to be an integer element, and then that is set equal to the number.get. It's on line 16 of the
line 16.
not on your code.
For now, I'm just gonna use what's on the slide, what's on the doc. Yeah, I'm gonna just check because I don't want to waste time like trying to identify just like a small error here. Okay. Just copy the code on the slides. It should be the same thing just with comments over here. I didn't do the comments, but just trying to figure out
Yeah, you were missing the
equal sign.
no, you were missing the integer where you make the integer element at index.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, over here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was just this line over here. I just forgot to add this line. I'll paste it in the chat for those that need it. You can just add that line right above the system.out.println, and then that's basically what I was missing. That's why it was giving me an error. Okay. If you guys see my screen now, you can see that it's printed over here. So it's printing our element at index 2. Remember, index 2 is not 20. It doesn't go 1 to 2. It goes 0, 1, 2. So it's printing 30. Then it's printing our elements in the list. So 10, 25, 30, and 50. Remember, we changed this one to 25. So this is what the for loop prints, right? So it's already removed this integer, and it's already changed number 1 to 25. So you can see here, this is changed to 25, and 40 is removed. And then we have our Boolean here, whether the array list contains 30, which is right here. So it gives us a true statement. And then the size of the array list is 4, because remember, we removed one of the terms, so it's cut down. And then whether it's empty is true, because we just cleared it over here right after running all of our print commands. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? If not, I'll move on to threading and concurrency. Okay, if not, then I'm just gonna open a new tab. I'll just delete this code, just run it. And we'll move on to threading and concurrency. Let me just do this quickly here. Okay, so remember, first we're just going to define our class and we're going to run our public static void loop. So we're just going to do public class. We're going to call this one concurrency exam. It's similar to our last one. This is concurrency and threading, by the way. Both of those concepts go hand in hand. I'll just explain what that does. So threading just refers to running multiple parts of the code at the same time. So if when you run code, just like we did in our previous example, the code goes line by line and it goes in order of how we coded it. What threading and concurrency does is that it's able to output two or more lines at once. So it runs the code all at once. And this basically helps the program use resources well and run tasks that are meant to be run together. And it also has tools like threads and synchronization to manage this. However, threading, you need to be careful when planning it to avoid problems like mixed up data. So you don't want to end up running two parts of the code that aren't being meant to run together. Then you can run into errors and problems with your code. So in order to do this, we're just going to be doing, so just follow along over here, public class concurrency example. We're going to define our public static void loop. So public static void main string open close bracket. And then args open bracket, open curly bracket. Okay. Maybe do that. I'm not sure why I didn't get, there we go. Now we have two curly brackets. And what we're going to do here now is create our threads. So like I said, threading and concurrency go hand in hand. Now threading is just a concept. It's just the concept of running two or more things at the same time. In order to be able to implement concurrency, we need to know how to use threads. Threads are just tasks which can be executed at the same time. So in order to create a thread, we just type in thread. You can see this is a keyword. It turns yellow. So we're going to do thread, and then we're going to name our thread. We'll call it thread1. We're going to create two. I don't want to do more than two for this example. It's just so I can, give you the gist of how concurrency works. So thread1 is equal to a new thread. And inside the parentheses, we're going to do new simple task. We're going to put another open close parentheses. Inside here, we're going to put a string. We're going to call it thread1. Okay. Just expand it for you guys. We're going to call that thread1. And then you can just copy and paste what I did here onto your next line. Just make sure to change this to thread2 because we want it to be different threads.